Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Yeah, you know what it is. Hard worker, scrappy, unfiltered, and sometimes unhinged football content. Hard to explain, but you know it when you see it. Doing it daily our way. I don't know what you're talking about right now. Redraft and Dynasty Fantasy Football, we got you covered. You know their defense is ranked like 31st in the NFL? NFL draft prospects and rookies? Now you know you in the right place for that.
Absolutely.
All right, then stop saying it. Then we're done. And prop bets with my man Jay Rich. Count that money, man. Now wipe the crust out of your eyes. Get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake your ass up with Ray G. You honestly are making absolutely no sense and you sound silly as hell. GMGP, what's cracking with y'all? It is Monday, May 6th, 2024. Y'all decided to wake y'all asses up with Ray G, and you know I appreciate each and every person in the building, everybody that's tapped in this morning. Make sure before we get going, I'm going to tell y'all right now, hit that like button, comment, subscribe below. Make sure you tap in with the All Gas Army, the squad. And I see my people are in the damn building this morning. What's popping with you? Cold World TDE in the building. What's going on with you, baby? Let's get that big. Let's get that big. I want everybody to see that GMGP. What's going down with you, Cold World? Who else we got in the building this morning? I see a lot of folks. I see Wifey in there. Caleb G in the building. GMGP was popping with you, Caleb. Happy Monday to you, boss man. Alex in the building. Jay Rich got a stick up for his Canadian buddy. Uh-oh. A little bit of Drizzy Drake. Drizzy Drake and Kendrick Lamar, the biggest shit going down in the streets today. Who else we got in the building? What's up, Emilio in the building? Mr. London in the group. We got a good, man, Wifey in here. Garrison, GMGP, Nate W, Nate Wiggins in the building. Good morning, peeps. It's going to be a good show. Hit the music, hit the music, hit the music. Cut it. Jay Rich, what's cracking with y'all? We are excited today, and you should be excited as well. As we progress through the offseason, NFL draft is over. People looking ahead to the 2025 class. And we got some camp stuff. We got some rookie mini camp things that we're going to discuss today. Those illustrious clips, Jay, those glorious clips are out. It is clip season. Jay Rich, how you feeling back there behind the scenes? I ain't bringing you up here yet. How you feeling back there, Jay?
Good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Yeah, the clips are flowing and the blood's flowing even faster than that. So I like to see it.
Clips are flowing. What's up, Patrick? What's up, Alex, Amstel, Jordan, and wife? You got to get her on the building, GMGP. Good morning to you, boo. Jay, what's up, man? I'll bring you on the screen now. I ain't got nothing else to say. What's up, man? How you doing this morning?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It was an eventful weekend, to say the least, and it was not in the football streets, and I will not be defending my Canadian boy. I'm sorry. I'm firmly on one side of the fence, and I'm not apologizing about it. It was everywhere. It consumed my entire life for the entire weekend, and it was awesome. It was awesome.
Everybody.
But this is not the show for that, Ray. We have much more important things to talk about. We can say it's important. It's important to us. It's important to the people. But it was phenomenal. A phenomenal weekend of music. If you haven't listened to it, just go take a listen, man. It was unreal stuff. But Ray, yeah, you said it, man. Minicamp is here for the rookies. I am excited for it because people overreact, and that's the biggest thing here. I was going back and looking at some of our takes from last season. Yeah, you know, we're all in on Brock Purdy. Not so bad of a take. We're all in on Treylon Burks.
That's kind of bad.
Not so good. Not so good. But I think the more important thing here, right, and the thing that you do best, and I've taken from you a lot over the years, is we will start in one spot with a player and a take and an opinion, and it will morph throughout the offseason as we get new information. It won't just be he's going to be the one for the whole offseason, even though things will change. We will take new information and form new opinions with that information. So while today, someone already said it in the chat, Worthy, no hands. I'm like,
we'll talk about X in a little bit. We'll talk about
that, but it will morph throughout the offseason. So don't be so rigid in your takes, and especially in your rookie drafts. I still believe we should be leaning on draft capital and potential production, but there is a lot of factors like interviews, like how a player talks, like whether or not the community likes them, all that ADV that gets built into all of this. So I think it's a good time to be doing rookie drafts because there's a lot of fluctuations in value and there's a lot of potential opportunities you can get as well. But I got to be honest, Ray, not loving rookie drafts right now. I'm really not. Once you get past like 16, 17 picks, it's difficult to know where to go. And it's not that I'm afraid of making a mistake. It's that I don't even know who the right decision is because there's a lot of options once you get to that point.
Can I give you some adjustments that I've made to my personal rookie rankings, and you hit the nail on the head. It's adjusting to new information, adjusting to what, not so much where they got drafted, but what the coaches, what the teams are sort of saying about the roles, or at least the role that they envision these rookies having early in the season. And some of the things that I've made, Jay, I moved a couple of running backs up. I know this was not billed as a strong running back class, but I did move Blake Corum, Trey Benson, and Marshawn Lloyd above all of these receivers. Let me give you some receivers that I've moved them ahead of. I've moved them ahead of Roman Wilson, Jalen Polk, Xavier Legette, who was a first-round pick.
Wow.
Adnan Mitchell, Ricky Pearsall has fallen quite a bit for me. He's down to my 27th overall player, behind the aforementioned receivers. And it's just looking at those situations and really trying to figure out, were these players drafted to be good complements to the offense, or were they drafted to be the guy in the offense, or the 2 or the 3? And as I look at some of these situations, look at how a few of these teams, San Francisco in particular, you think about Kyle Shanahan, Jay Rich, you think about Shanahan and the genius of that offense, and your mind would venture to say, oh, I bet you they got so many different receivers on the field and they're using all these different formations. But the reality is they don't. The reality is they're playing in primary 2 wide receiver sets. They don't run a lot of personnel groups. George Kittle is going to be on the field, and that offense does flow through Christian McCaffrey. So there were some adjustments that I've made early throughout this process. Nothing wholesale. I've not kicked anybody up to the 101 or the 103. All of that stuff is pretty solid up there. But I do want to talk about Xavier Worthy. I want to talk about Ladd McConkey, Keon Coleman, Penix, and some other players today. What's up, Dynasty Daddy in the building? Shout out Dynasty Daddy in the building. Always supporting DD, support what he does. Jeremy is a dope guy. Dynasty Daddy is a phenomenal product. Jay, the baddest man, I believe, right now in sports, and I don't think we could start a show off without talking about this player. But that's Anthony Edwards. Excuse me, we're supposed to be talking about football. Anthony Edwards, Jay, incredible, dude. That's all I want to say. Just absolutely out of this freaking world. Anthony Edwards. Jay, how you feeling about old Ant-Man right now in the playoffs? Everybody keeps saying Jordan. I just got to bring it up because everybody keeps saying Jordan. He's the next thing. I just have to ask this before we'll let some more football people get in the building. But Ant-Man right now, is he like that, Jay? Is he the best player in the NBA?
I personally think he's a little overrated. I will admit to the people, I was a bit of an Edwards hater in his rookie season, kind of coming in. I thought he'd be Andrew Wiggins 2.0, right? Put up a lot of numbers on the Timberwolves because they suck, not really take them anywhere, but he's definitely elevated this franchise tremendously. I still personally believe that he's a little bit overblown in terms of how he's perceived, but he's very young with a ton of upside, so I get it. But if he kind of did this for 2 or 3 years, you end up becoming a Tatum or a Jaylen Brown, where you're very, very good, but you're not
better
really
he's better than Jaylen Brown. He's better than Jaylen Brown.
I agree he's better than Jaylen Brown. But I'm saying, like, you end up in that weird spot where everyone knows you're very good, but you haven't quite, like, figured it out to where you're that guy yet. And Ant is on the ascension. I don't know if he will get there. I hope he does. That'd be sick. But my personal belief, Ray, he absolutely 100% should not re-sign in Minnesota, and he should go to the Lakers. And then at that point, he would be a star. He's not a star in Minnesota. He's just not. He's a phenomenal player, one of the best players in the NBA, and definitely top 5 in terms of MVP voting this season. But for him to get to that high level Jordan, Kobe, etc. type situation, I think Anthony Edwards needs to go to the LA Lakers and replace LeBron James when he ultimately retires.
I think it's going to happen.
That for me is my perfect situation.
I think it's going to happen. I think LA's got to make a big splash. But like you said, another topic for another day. It's been fun watching him. I didn't think he would be this good coming out of Georgia, but my God, Jay. Another player that we have sort of, I know, another player that is sort of, man, I don't even know if this quarterback is in the news because of what he's done or because of what their team has done. But let's talk a little bit about Kirk Cousins, Jay. And I have been dying to just get some information on how he's progressing. What's going on with Kirk Cousins throughout his Achilles rehab? And there's been like nothing. I haven't seen anything. All I see pictures of is Kirk Cousins in khakis in a short sleeve button up with his family out in Atlanta. I haven't seen or read or saw a hype video for Kirk Cousins working out. till last week, Jay, we got a first glimpse. Look at old Kirk Cousins here. He's out there, Jay, and he's throwing the ball to Darnell Mooney. I don't know where this was. I'm assuming this is. I don't know when.
Have to be.
Yeah,
it's funny when you pulled it up and I saw the 18. I'm like, is that Ryan Tannehill? Did he pull up the wrong?
It's not Tanny. That is Kirk Cousins to Darnell Mooney. Nice. So you got Cousins here. Let's play doctor. Okay, they say it's the plant Achilles. Jay, it looks like he's planting there on that back leg just fine.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's getting the ball out right to Darnell Mooney. This is a dart of a throw. But Kirk Cousins is on the field. Kirk Cousins is throwing a football, and it is May, Jay. So I'm just going to venture to say he's looking like he's going to be on track to be ready for the start of the 2024 NFL season.
Bayou saying that leg though, Ray. You are the number one Achilles leg analyst in the fantasy streets. You have firsthand knowledge. So talk to me about the fragility of that. It looks tiny. Like Kirk surprisingly got some big legs, right? Bigger than Rodgers, I'd say, if just kind of comparing the pictures I've seen. It's, again, how do you think that could impact him? Especially on the plant leg, too.
The atrophy is real. You know, I tweeted that picture out. I'm going to try to find that picture. Go ahead. Talk about how you feel about Cousins. While I find that picture so I can show folks.
So the big thing for me is I'm not concerned yet with Cousins. Like, I'm really not. I think we need to allow the doctors and the researchers to kind of take over here and say, like, look, this guy should be fine. Ultimately, he's throwing the ball with his arm. Yes, the plant and all that stuff matters. But when you look at Rodgers, when you look at Cousins, like, they seem like they're still fine to do what they've always done, and that's stand in the pocket and deliver the ball. It's exciting to see him working with Darnell Mooney because, again, that's another compliment to the offense that we want to see. But for me, Ray, the biggest question, honestly, is still Zach Robinson.
How
many months out was that?
This was, I was a few weeks into rehab, so
pretty new then. Much less than what
you see
Kirk
the thing on the bottom.
Now.
I was walking around, right? But you've seen me in person. I got big legs, dude. Like, I got calves. Like, I work out. But look how little that my cat, and it still hasn't fully recovered. Now, I'll say this, like, I could lift the same amount of weight that I could before, so the strength is there. It feels fine. It just looks smaller. So from everything that I've been told and what medical doctors responded on those tweets that I put out, they said there should be no issue with him moving forward. Again, I look down and I'm like, damn, that it's skinny over there compared to it's way smaller. But what people say is no issues. I still have the same strength. So for me to see Cousins on the field, this is a good thing. And, you know, I was talking to Damian Parson from the Draft Network. Shout out to DP. And I know a lot of people are saying that Penix is not going to play. Like, he's not going to get on the field. It's going to be years. From what I was told, like, Kirk Cousins is there this year. He's there 100% next year. But they can get out of that contract and save about $90 million in dead cap after the 25 season. So just vibe with me here, Jay. Say the Falcons aren't very good. Say there's some growing pains, some offensive coordinator changes, and they don't win the division this year. They go into 2025, and they start off the season slow. If they can save almost $100 million by releasing Cousins after the 25 season, and it doesn't work out this year, it starts off slow next year, wouldn't it behoove them to get Penix on the field to get some reps in with his weapons, with London, because they'll have to make a decision on London's fifth year after this season as well? Yeah. I think there's a real world where he's on the field sooner than people think, and I have been drafting him at the back of the first in rookie drafts or trading for him and using him as sort of like a pseudo 25 first-round pick. If I can't get a first, give me freaking Michael Penix, who if you stack him up today against the quarterbacks next year, at worst, he's QB2, QB3 in the 2025 class. So seeing Cousins on the field, encouraging for the prospectus and the outcome of the receivers, the tight ends, Bijan Robinson this year. We'll see how it all plays out, though, man. What are your thoughts?
So I think the biggest thing here that people are missing is, like, Cousins still has to be good, right? And if you draft a quarterback as high as Atlanta did, I think there could be some potential pushback from the owner to say, yeah, we're paying Kirk a lot of money, but, like, we still have to see if this guy is good or not. And so, Ray, honestly, even early in the year, if it's week 4, week 5, and the Rams, the Falcons, the former Rams staff believe that Penix can run the offense competently.
There's no way that early.
Playing well.
There's no way that early, though. There's no way that early.
Why not?
Because they invest.
Why not?
You got to see it through a little bit. You cannot. They will not pull the plug after 4 weeks. You got to see it through a little.
Not saying you pull the plug, but even if it's okay, week 10, week 11, like what if the Falcons are 4-7 after 11 weeks, or I guess they'd probably have a bye week in there, so 4-6. Like they're clearly not performing to where they need to perform, and if Kirk can't get them there, I mean, at some point you have to say, like, what can Penix do now? What can we work on with him? Like, the biggest problem as well, Ray, is he's not going to get the practice reps with the starters, so that chemistry is not going to be there naturally. So I think when you're talking about the long-term prognosis of Penix, I like the idea it's going to be 2 years. You buy him and invest that it's going to be 2 years. But if Kirk is not good, and I mean like actually pretty good, winning games, competing in the division, then there's a world where Penix could play at any point almost. Maybe not week 3, week 4, but late in the year, the Falcons are out of it. You start Penix. You don't start Kirk Cousins. And then going into next year, it's can Penix win the job or do they stick with Kirk? But I think if there is an opportunity for them to play Penix, and it makes sense because Kirk isn't performing and the team isn't at their expectations.
This season.
Absolutely.
Jay,
if the Falcons are out of it week 17, Ray, out of it, like they've won 5 games, they're like 5-9 or something because Cousins isn't getting it done, then you play Penix, which to your point and why you're buying will elevate his stock tremendously and elevate it all through the offseason. So I think there's a world where he plays.
CJ Rich gets it. For me personally, I don't think it's happening this year. Not outside of end of season. They're out of it. Put them in week 16, 17, 18, finish out the season. I feel like it's more viable in 25. But I guess just what information or indication that Kirk won't be good? He's been good for the past 10 years of football.
Hold on. He has been great for fantasy. But as a winning quarterback, man, he's kind of been so-so, right? If you're the Falcons, you don't care if he can put up 4,500 yards if he can only win you 8 games or 9 games or 10 games, right? Like that's not what matters to them at this point. They're past we just need a good – they need to start actually winning games. If you're paying him $100 million over the next 2.5 seasons, he needs to be winning you games, right? So I think didn't he just have
the Vikings as the number 2 seed in the NFC a year prior to him tearing his Achilles? I'm almost positive they were the 2nd seed in the NFC.
In the NFC, well, that was the year they got really lucky, right? They won they were 11-0 in one-score games, and then the next season they didn't win those one-score games, right?
And he got hurt halfway through. Well, he got hurt halfway through.
So he was 4-4 last season, but I want to say they really struggled. Didn't they open the season 1-3 or almost 1-4? They won 3 straight, and then Kirk got hurt. That's where again, everyone thinks that the NFC South is really bad. It's getting better every year. The Bucks are kind of getting better. The Panthers are getting better. So all those things, if the Falcons aren't improving at that rate, I do think there could be some problems for them. Okay. And I do think Penix is going to be on the field, personally.
Okay. Let's talk about some more rookie hype. Let's get some hype here with some of these lowly rated rookies, but damn it, we're reacting to the information that we have, Jay. And your boy, the monster, the mountain man, the freak, the alien. Not this one. Number 18, that's John Ross. John Ross making the comeback. But this one right here, that's big Johnny Wilson. Look at him sinking his hips, getting low.
Very nice.
Reports are there are no sort of conversations about moving big Johnny Wilson to tight end, Jay. But I just have a sneaky suspicion that the deployment of Johnny Wilson this year will look very reminiscent to just getting big-bodied weapons opportunities down in the red zone. What say you about Johnny Wilson? I mean, he got drafted, in the 6th, 7th round of the NFL draft, so you're talking about a late-round pick. Probably not a lot of fantasy upside, but do you think there's any room for Johnny Wilson? And they are currently not talking about nor discussing moving him to tight end, but if he took this Darren Waller path, Jay Rich, would you want you some Johnny Wilson? Because we got to see him live. I've told people from day one, I know the hands are a little... But Johnny Wilson can play. Johnny Wilson, to be that big, to have that type of athleticism, to have that type of fluidity, my dog can move, Jay. Is that somebody you got a little interest in going into the 2024 season? Or are you just like, I'm good on that?
I'm definitely intrigued. I am definitely intrigued because, Ray, to your point, there is a world where Dallas Goedert gets hurt. And the best person to fill in for the job is Johnny Wilson. Yeah, he's not going to do as much inline blocking probably, but he can run in the slots and kind of run the same route tree that Goddard would. So I think it's very interesting to see a world where that happens.
Look at him next to John Ross right there. Look, I mean, just holy hell,
he's very
dude.
big. But yeah, like for his size and what he does well, like he is a great route runner, like a great route runner. But I think the reality is there any room for any player outside of the top two? And the answer is no. So would I maybe take a shot off waivers? Potentially, just in case, maybe someone gets hurt or whatever, and I have some spots available. But that's really what you're looking at. There's no potential opportunity. Again, is he going to be a tight end? Maybe, but that's still like a long-term play.
I would love him in this inside as a big power slot.
I want him to play in an Allen Lazard role. Like Allen Lazard was a great slot, like a big slot, right? He still, I think, ran 4.4, 40-inch vertical. Wilson isn't quite as athletic, but he's taller and he's just as fluid in the way he runs routes. But Allen Lazard, I think, is the archetype and mold that you want Johnny Wilson to play in the NFL.
Man, I'll just say this too, Jay, and I know you can attest to this having gone the past couple of years. I know when you're watching these clips, like they look kind of skinny, but once you strap up and you're at like he's not. He's put together. He's put together. He's put together. Jay, another one that I have been coming around on more and more, and Scott and I talked about this last night on Destination Chill. Make sure you go back, check that out. If you did not watch that video, we talked about navigating the 24 rookie class, how to incorporate the 25 class, maybe trading for some picks. But I've been coming around on this player more and more, Jay, and I understand that the opportunity is not readily apparent. It is not there from day one. There's no doubt about it. The starting running back, if healthy, is the starting running back. But I think this player can weave his way in and start to carve out a role mid-season. I'm bullish on him, Jay. Marshawn Lloyd out of USC. Look at old Lloyd there, quick feet, getting through the cone drill right here. I mean, he's looking big. He's looking stout. He's looking thick. He's looking full. But I'm a big fan of his game. And if you read the reports coming out of this little rookie minicamp here, he also displayed quickness, hands, looked like he's ready to go. So I am coming around more and more on Marshawn Lloyd. How you feeling about old Lloyd right here?
I honestly want to know if I'm being punked right now. You, Mr. USC Trojan himself, with the helmet in the back, point to
with
it,
the
show
helmet.
the people. You are coming around on Marshawn Lloyd? You have been
about the
Marshawn
the landing spot. Yes, I like Marshawn. Yes, everybody knows I've been a Marshawn Lloyd fan, but I'm talking about the landing spot. Because when it first happened, I'm like, damn, man, behind Josh Jacobs, behind A.J. Dillon. Look at this thing. He's better than A.J. Dillon. He is better than A.J.
He's better than A.J. Dillon.
He's better than A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon may know the offense. He's got the upper hand because he's been there, but it won't take long to see that explosiveness versus the slugness of A.J. Dillon. I got Rico giving me magic beans out here for my love, my profuse love of Marshawn Lloyd. But talk about it, Jay. How do you feel about Marshawn Lloyd, but more importantly, the opportunity that can be present with Josh Jacobs, because that's really what it is, right? If Jacobs is out there, if Jacobs is out there, it's probably not a lot to go around, but he hasn't been the perfect model of health and consistency over his career either. And LaFleur likes to deploy multiple running backs. I like this, man.
Yeah, Ray, you really hit the nail on the head. People who aren't very familiar with LaFleur's offense, he does deploy two running backs frequently, right? This is the biggest problem with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. You didn't know who the starter was. Neither one got a ton of touches. You were just praying that Jones got the pass catching work. Now you look at Josh Jacobs and Marshawn Lloyd. You look at A.J. Dillon as well, but he signed like a very low, like he came back to the team, but it was like a basically nothing offer, and he could get cut if Marshawn Lloyd outplays him, and they wouldn't have to pay him anymore. And that was the reason why I was in on him after he got drafted. And the other thing too is that yes, these guys are third-round running backs, but like that still matters to some extent. Like you can't just say, oh, Marshawn Lloyd's behind Josh Jacobs, so you can't take him. Josh Jacobs was a bell cow in Las Vegas for Josh McDaniels, no less, who is well known to use one running back, and that's it. He used one running back pretty much his whole career. LaFleur is very different, and I think the biggest thing is people say, oh, Jacobs' efficiency. well, maybe the guy who wasn't a bell cow running back at Alabama isn't necessarily best served as a bell cow running back in the NFL as well. He had a couple of good seasons. You can do it for a little bit, but even Matt LaFleur knows if you lower the touch load for Josh Jacobs, maybe he can be more efficient and have more success. Yes, I would assume he takes pretty much all the red zone work and a decent amount of the pass catching work. But if Marshawn Lloyd can be that complement, Ray, last year, Aaron Jones in 11 games, 142 attempts, A.J. Dillon, 178. There could easily be a situation where you have 220, 230 for Josh Jacobs and 100 to 120, maybe only 80 for Marshawn Lloyd. But that would be enough for people to say, maybe there is some potential opportunity and a role here. That's exactly what happened with Tajay Spears. Tajay Spears was next to a bell cow running back in Derrick Henry, and it just didn't work out for the offense, so he got on the field. He played. Now, again, pass-catching role probably on the Jacobs side, but I do think there's a world where he could see 100 opportunities, and to me, that is enough to warrant the draft capital in the second round.
And I understand that Aaron Jones was injured for parts of the season. I believe A.J. Dillon was hurt as well. I don't think he played all 17 games.
15 games for Dillon.
Played 15 games. Both of these guys, they both played the same amount of snaps out of 11 personnel. 58% of their snaps came out of 11. Almost an even split about deployment and usage out of 12 personnel. I mean, he's going to use multiple backs. Hell, even Patrick Taylor throughout that time of injury, and it's the running back position, dog. Like, they get hurt. Running backs go down. Running backs get hurt. You know what I want, Jay? I want running backs that are tethered to good offenses. And this offense is one of the best ones, and it's young, and it's getting better. They invested in offensive line in this draft class. Jordan Love has got receivers to throw the ball to. This could be a very, very good situation for Marshawn Lloyd. And I think people are overlooking it because your point is right. Jacobs was the bell cow with Josh McDaniels, but this is a different offense. He's essentially on a one-year prove-it deal in Green Bay. And the draft capital for Marshawn Lloyd is consistent with the draft capital of most running backs today. It's fine. I really like this. I think people are overlooking it, just assuming Jacobs in year 6 is just going to be fed 400 attempts, 400 opportunities. I don't believe that's going to be the case. Give me some Marshawn Lloyd, Jay. Let's talk about another group of running backs. And I mean, Jay, I honestly, it does not inspire much confidence at all. But damn, the video imagery here is pretty damn sweet. Let's take a look at those Jets, Jay. Let's take a look at Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, and Malachi Corley walking on that Jets practice field. You see they drafted 2 running backs this year, I believe, in the 4th and the 6th round. Malachi Corley, their 3rd round pick. A lot of talk about Corley potentially, Jay, being that, you know what it is, that Deebo Samuel role for Robert Saleh. And there goes Malachi Corley right there, wearing that 17 that was once worn and donned by Garrett Wilson. Corley almost dropped that one there, but you see the size. Corley going to try to fill into that slot role with Aaron Rodgers. Again, you've got Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis, Jay. There's been some talk about Malachi Corley and Aaron Rodgers not liking rookie wide receivers. How you feeling about him today opposed to where we were, a couple of weeks ago, a week ago during the NFL draft, right after the reactions? 3rd round pick, Malachi Corley out there with Aaron Rodgers. He's throwing the ball. Is going to be ready for the start of the season. How you feeling about Corley in that offense?
I'm intrigued, but I would say I'm more pessimistic than anything else. I think the reality is with Corley, you have both sides. You have them trading up to get him, and the texts, whether they're real or not, I think they ended up being real, but either way, they traded up to get him. Very excited to get him. Obviously, he was a big target for them after they missed out at the top of the board with Rome Odunze. And then you look at kind of how he could fit into the offense. The slot role is wide open. Like, he could take that role, run with it. How effective is that role? What's the outlook for him? 60 receptions, 600 yards or so, I think is pretty solid. But I don't know what the ceiling is going to be because next to Garrett Wilson, it's not happening.
Hey, Braylon Allen is big. Hey, Braylon Allen is a big running back.
Where's Izzy Abanikanda? What, he didn't get an invite to rookie minicamp? But yeah, so Corley, I'd say I draft in the 3rd, but I don't think I draft him before that. And even then, I'd probably take him behind Jermaine Burton, behind Javon Baker. Just guys that I think could have more opportunity and upside over the long term. Corley could be a great short-term option. And then the other side, Ray, is he plays for the Jets. He's going to get hyped hyped up to all hell. Like, it's going to happen.
Let's go, D, bro.
Moore, it's going to happen with Malachi Corley. And I like Corley a lot. Like, he's a dope kid. We talked about the Senior Bowl.
Yes,
like,
he is a
really
good kid.
Humble,
I like him.
Good
He's
guy.
a good dude.
And he is huge. Like,
he
is massive. And that yak comes from inside, comes from the work that he puts in the weight room. Like, it's no joke.
That dude is jacked.
The upside and potential in the Jets offense with Rodgers, unless he's scoring a ton of touchdowns, I don't really know what I would do with him. So I think he's more of a fade for me. I think he gets steamed up a little bit too much in the offseason. Do you feel any differently about Corley?
I don't know.
Like,
man.
have you drafted him? Would you draft? I don't think I would. I don't think I'm really on the Corley. He's not really on my draft board right now based off kind of where he goes.
I'll just say this. I like
him a lot, though.
I like the fit.
It's great for Rodgers.
If Mike Williams is healthy, I think he's just an ancillary piece to catch a couple of balls. But
when Mike gets hurt, though, Ray?
What'd you say?
When Mike gets hurt, though, could there be a sell window? Because he's going to get hurt.
Yes,
he gets hurt every year.
When Mike Williams gets hurt, there will be a sell window, but I do not believe that will automatically mean wheels up Corley. What it will probably mean is wheels up Breece Hall catching a shit ton of passes out of the backfield. But I do want to ask you, do you think there's a world, Jay? Can you sell to people in a world where Braylon Allen is the backup, the primary number 2 to Breece Hall? Do you think that is within his realistic range of outcome this year? That he is the running back you want to have as the handcuff to Breece Hall? Is it way too early to say that, or are you kind of like, you know what, I'm going to take a stab on the 4th round running back that was ultra productive at 17 years old in college, may not be Derrick Henry. We really don't know how athletic he is, but if you hand him the ball, he can jam it up the gut. You think there's a world in which he gets that, or is it Izzy Abanikanda or somebody else?
So yeah,
this is going to be a valuable position. This position, the backup Jets running back position, will be one that people with Aaron Rodgers, people will be in on, and they didn't just, they added another offensive lineman. There's Olu Fashanu right there. Big Olu. Look at him moving around. I know he got banged up a little bit at the combine, but they've spent money on this line. They take Olu. They have Tyron Smith. This is going to be a much improved Jets team, Jay. So having that backup running back, maybe it's more important to be figuring out who the hell that is, opposed to Malachi Corley or whoever's going to catch passes from Aaron Rodgers this year.
Yeah, like especially at cost, like you said, right? There's Izzy is there, Braylon, and then Isaiah Davis. I would say, though, where I am confident, I don't think they bring in a veteran. I think they tried it, didn't work.
I think so, too.
I don't see them necessarily going that route, which is good because if Zeke was available, I think there's a world where maybe they do go after Zeke because they know that he can pass protect if Breece Hall gets injured or whatever, and then can spell him in other ways. So the thing for me, though, is that do we know that Braylon Allen can run this kind of system? Because I think that Izzy would be better as a zone runner, and I believe they run more zone under that pseudo San Francisco system. So when you look at the skill set of Izzy, I think it more so emulates what Breece Hall does, both catching the football and obviously running the football with speed and acceleration. Braylon Allen's a little bit different. I believe he would be the primary backup, but if there's a world where Isaiah Davis has a better skill set to replace, that's possible because he's a better pass catcher than Braylon Allen is. And then at the same time, Ray, are you really replacing Breece Hall with one player?
No,
I don't
you're
believe
not.
You are.
You're not. And that's what I was going to say. When I'm looking at the splits of the running backs after Breece Hall, even with him being banged up and injured at parts of this season, they didn't do a damn thing, man. I mean, he's the guy. It is Breece Hall.
I don't think you can replace him with one guy.
And if something happens, it's probably just going to be a smattering of multiple running backs. Who's got the hot hand? Let's keep bodies fresh. Wow. But Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin on the team in attempts.
No,
gross.
Second. Michael Carter, third. Izzy
had 22 carries. So
yeah,
I think it's probably Izzy, and that's weird to say.
It probably is Izzy.
And
it's probably Izzy.
I mean, if they believe Braylon kind of fits the offense better,
Izzy.
like who knows, right? Like
they feel
why did they draft 2 running backs? Like it makes no sense.
Some teams do that. The Cowboys have done when you just need bodies. When you don't trust the guys that are behind your guy, you just have to.
For sure.
You have to have bodies. I think this is signifying. I'm having a tough time, Jay, So let's deviate really quickly because I'm having a tough time, and this is actually a great segue. Breece Hall, Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson. Those are the 3 running backs coming off the board. 1, 2, 3 in Underdog Fantasy right now. And I'm trying to figure out which one of those. Let's remove Christian McCaffrey. Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson. Who would you bet on having the monster season? Because I am leaning on the side of we're going to get the season that we thought Bijan was going to give us last year. I think it's coming right here. I think this year to year, you bring in Raheem Morris, you bring in Zach Robinson, coming from that offense where they just deployed 1 running back in Kyron Williams. We are going to see, this is going to be the smash Bijan season. I think this is the one, and I've been taking him over Breece Hall a couple of times. I kind of like that situation a little bit more for Bijan. What side do you lean on? Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, who finishes with the most points this year?
I mean, for me, it's Breece Hall. I wouldn't say it's particularly difficult either. When you're talking about ceiling, of course, you can go the Bijan route, but I'm definitely rather bet on the offense I know than the offense I don't. You know, you can talk about the Rams offense, and I'm totally with you. I would project the Falcons the way I'd project the Rams. Similar splits, usage, etc. The use of 1 running back probably 70% of the time. I would totally do that. But at the same time, Bray, like, we know how good Breece Hall is. We know how good Breece Hall is in this offense, and we know how good he is in the absence of Aaron Rodgers. Look,
so
I get that Aaron Rodgers is going to throw to the receivers a bit more, but man, he's still going to throw the ball to Breece Hall because he knows Breece Hall can do it. So for me, I would slightly lean on what we've seen.
Put it on the board
over what we haven't. I would take Breece Hall over Bijan.
Let's put a case on it. We're going to lock it in?
For sure. Yeah, I'll take Breece.
Lock it in. I got Bijan. Put a case on it.
I want the known commodity.
Every time we make a bet, I just have to tell. I don't want my winnings 4 months after I've won. I would prefer.
I don't know why you keep going on with this bit.
Relatively quickly
in swift fashion, like the last 3 or 4 bets.
What happened before then?
I don't know. You never paid me out on the Tua bet that we made. That was on the show.
I never paid you. I never paid that Tua bet.
I don't think you did.
Because
he got hurt.
We'll check the receipts. Let's go to the next player.
I think Breece is set up. So what? I have to ask you though. What is your projection for Bijan?
I have no projection.
You're making the Kyron comps. You're taking the Rams. So like, do you think RB1 is well within the ceiling?
Absolutely.
For him.
Absolutely. What happened in Atlanta last year was a travesty, and I don't believe that they are going to allow that to happen again. Running backs are literally ticking time bombs. You spent the top 10 pick on a running back. Give him the damn ball. Load up Robinson. He was phenomenal in the receiving game. It was lack of work inside the red zone was honestly just confusing as to why he didn't get many opportunities down there. Tyler Algier. Hell, they were even doing QB sneaks with Desmond Ridder. So I do believe that this year, with 2 quarterbacks who are not mobile quarterbacks that can't run around, that have to get the ball out quickly, I do think RB1 finish for Bijan Robinson is well within his range of outcome. Since we're just talking about the Jets, Jay, it's not a video, but and we're not going to spend a lot of time on it, but people have been telling me I need to draft him in the 4th round. I'm looking at, that's Jordan Travis right there, Jay. I'm putting him over you. The picture just doesn't do it for me, Jay. It doesn't inspire.
He looks frail. He really does. I don't know if it's the camera doing him dirty, but he looks tiny. He looks small.
Jay, I'm just not. It doesn't do it for me, Jay Rich. I cannot
I'm not a Jordan
get
Travis
down.
guy, though. I'm really not.
I can't
I'm not
do
a Jordan
it.
Travis guy.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure that we are. We're on the same
good.
page.
Give me Spencer Rattler in the 4th. That's my 4th rounder.
D-Bro said, never Jordan Travis. Listen, I'm not.
Thank you, D-Bro.
Joe, don't believe that. Joe, don't believe that. It's too early in the morning. Don't believe Jay Rich with this shit, Joe.
I'd rather take Milton. Look, James, let me tell you something.
Real quick.
No, you wouldn't.
I saw this in here because Joe and Alex said not the same facial hair as Ray J. I'm looking at here. Is Allen an innings eater? And I thought about that. Joe's like not even an innings eater. No. I mean, he fits the mold of somebody that you could just come in and just hand the ball to, but he's not a pass catcher. We have no clue how athletic he is. He's a 4th-round pick. Here's why I want Allen is because somebody out there believes in him. Somebody in your league believes in him. That's why
There's
I want
a
Braylon
Jordan
Allen.
Backus in every draft.
There is a JB in every draft. That's like he's only 12 years old. Wait until 2030 when he's just hitting his prime and he's going to be the starter, man. But the news heard around the world, Jay. The rookie minicamp news heard around the world. I mean, this was just scorching hot takes here left and right. We'll talk about our man, 1st-round pick, Kansas City Chiefs, Xavier Worthy, Jay. This was his first recorded rep right here. Smooth through the drills, boom, breakdown, and right off his hands, Jay. Right off his hands. Clanks off his hands. This is the first rep, and this is what was dominating the space. I mean, people making wholesale conclusions about his career after this one drop in rookie minicamp. Now, he did do some other stuff, and you see here just the speed, the ability to sink his hips, caught that one just fine. And then you see him taking off down the field. There's some other clips out there with Worthy working on a punt return and doing some things in the punt return game. And the reports out of Chiefs rookie minicamp were not only did Xavier Worthy look phenomenal, Jay, they said they needed to see him in pads. But Jared Wiley was also a standout as well. So you've got Xavier Worthy getting pumped up early, or knocked down early, either way, depending on how we want to take this conversation. And you also have the positive outlook and news on, I believe Wiley was a 3rd or 4th-round pick, if I recall, tight end out of TCU, apparently looking very good as well. There was also another article or report that came out where they were asking Xavier Worthy, was he concerned about being 169 pounds? And he said he has no concerns about his weight. He doesn't think it will limit him. Here's my take. I have maintained and I said that I believe he is in as good of a situation to thrive early as any rookie outside of Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors. I think those are the 2 rookies that are most poised and primed to be set up to walk onto their team and command targets. Now, if you've been following my social media account, right? X, Twitter, whatever you call it, at RayGQ, I've been posting some real football kind of analysis out there, and I've talked about Xavier Legette and Dave Canales' deployment of his receivers. I like what Brian Thomas can do. I know a lot of people are excited about Ladd McConkey, Jay, but you look at the early 2025 NFL mocks, every damn one of them has the Los Angeles Chargers drafting a wide receiver. And that wide receiver, I'm telling you right now, if it's Tetero or McMillan, if it's Luther Burt, they're better than Ladd McConkey. That's all there is to it. There's only 2 guys that I'm expecting to come in and be dominant target earners, but with everything that's going on with Rashee Rice, with how much Kansas City actually used Justin Watson and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I don't people understand how much they were truly on the field, running routes, being deployed in high leverage situations. They just weren't that good. Jay, I believe in 2024, I mean, if you're talking which is the 3rd wide receiver off of the board that's going to score you points this year, for me, not Dynasty, I'm talking about 2024. Okay, I've been there. I'm taking Xavier Worthy over Odunze this season. Not long-term, not for their careers, not for 2 years from now, but in seasonal leagues, I want Xavier Worthy, and I don't feel that that's a hot take, and this clip does nothing for me besides break up the monotony of the 3 Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers right now on Underdog, back to back to back, Jay. Back to back to back. What? It's like 61, 62, 63. That's their ADP. Back to back to back. There's no sort. People don't know what the hell to do with Hollywood, Rice, or Xavier Worthy. Yeah. What say you, Jay Rich?
So Worthy is difficult. I'm with you that if you believe he can be that big-time threat in Kansas City, then absolutely take him as the wide receiver 3. No problem with that at all, like whatsoever. If you want to make that bet, I'm more than happy to, especially Underdog, where you know those spike weeks that they're going to be hitting different in Kansas City. And there is the Kansas City bump, the Kansas City ADV, the value, the Patrick Mahomes. Like, you can look at that drop, you say, yeah, he kind of smoked that ball a little bit, but that ball wasn't coming from Patrick Mahomes. It was coming from some coach, assistant, whatever.
And look, but here's the thing. He's going to drop the ball, dog. Like, he's going to, that's just going to happen. Go look at the tape. He's going to drop it. It's going to happen. So let's get that out of the way. It will happen. It's going to happen in game. But he's going to catch it more often than not. But he is going to drop the ball. I mean, here it is right here, Jay. Rice, Brown, Worthy. 61, 62,
That's
63.
crazy, though. At
People
those
don't-
prices,
because people
are you
don't
really
know.
taking Worthy, though? That's a better question. Like, I am very pro Rashee Rice, even given the ADP.
The
Like,
suspension
I would
stuff?
say he gets suspended. That's cool. You know, maybe you work that because like that's
actually
in the
not
cost,
cool,
right?
but, yeah.
Well, I mean, what he did wasn't cool, but gets suspended. You know, whatever it is, what it is. I'm not drafting him for morality reasons. I'm drafting him because
I
once he
get
comes
that.
back,
Right.
he'll be very good.
Right.
So Ray, what would you say his price would have been with no suspension? Third round, fourth round.
I mean, he was being
probably a
he was
top
being
15 receiver.
He was
right?
being drafted in the
high.
second or third round. But prior to that happening, he was being drafted in the second, third round.
And I
Yes.
think when he comes back, he's going to be very good. The question is Hollywood
Yes.
or Worthy, and that's a difficult one. Like
Hollywood
do
or
you
Worthy?
take Hollywood? Do you take Worthy?
Who do you think outproduces who?
I think the answer is probably Hollywood because you get the early opportunity. I think he gets first crack because he's the veteran. Maybe they play a bit together if Rashee Rice is suspended, but that's tough. And I think, maybe Worthy is the one who's, kind of getting a lower snap share once Rice comes back. That's the biggest problem right now when you look at Kansas City. But I'm a big believer in Worthy, big fan of Worthy. Don't care if he drops 10 passes. Ray, you know more than anybody. I am one of the biggest Deontay Johnson supporters in the entire world. I have been ever since Juju Smith-Schuster was relegated to wide receiver 2 and Deontay took over. He drops the ball a lot. He's going to drop the ball. But when you are getting a ton of targets, and in this case, when you're getting targets to Patrick Mahomes, I don't care how many times you drop the ball. I really don't. Marcus Valdes-Scantling dropped the ball tons of times. And he still had, 42 targets and was barely involved in the offense at all. You give a first-round receiver some real production, some real targets.
I
and
know.
especially, people are concerned about him dropping the ball. Patrick Mahomes had the lowest ADOT in the NFL.
Talk about it, Jay.
NFL. So when you talk about deep targets and this, that's not
You're
how
on that
this
Drake
team
shit
plays.
right now. Keep going.
That's
Spit.
not how this team plays.
Come on, Toronto.
So all Worthy has to do is get separation quick and run after the catch, which he can do very easily. So again, there's not the pressure to make the big play all the time. He has a low ADOT. He will continue to. It will open things up a bit more with Worthy. But again, Hollywood, Worthy do similar things.
Is he top
like
3?
Worthy.
Is he a top 3 rookie in seasonal drafts in Underdog right now?
No.
He's not a top 3 rookie receiver? What other rookie receiver would
I'm
you rather?
tempted to take.
What other rookie receiver would you rather? What other rookie receiver would you rather?
If you're asking me to pick a name, I would probably pick
that's what I'm asking.
Coleman. But if you're giving me the field, I'm absolutely taking the field. I think if you look at upside, so here's the rankings for me. Brian Thomas is difficult because I don't think the targets are in Jacksonville. Although, Ray, I don't know if we talked about it. Zay Jones got released. So that's very interesting for Brian Thomas. So he's interesting.
I have talked about it.
You know I believe in Ladd, right? I still believe that Ladd can get a lot of targets in year 1, even though it seems like every receiver is going to the Chargers, which is not great for Ladd McConkey.
Here's the answer.
And then you have Keon Coleman.
Here's the answer. And this is what I said in my tweet. I want all the Jay. It's a gut feel.
I know you're all in on Kelsey.
It's a gut feel, Jay. I am all in. I think we get the best version of Kelsey that we've seen the past couple of years this year. He is ready. I mean, there are a lot of eyeballs on Travis Kelsey. The attention is on him. He knows. You know his streak was broken, Jay. His 8 straight 1,000-yard season streak was broken. I think he only had like 991 last year. Yeah, it was like 16 yards. He did not get 1,000. But then you saw the dominance in the playoffs. People were kind of doubting Kelsey, and then he goes out in the playoffs, and it's just monster season.
Are you seeing that in the regular? Because that's the conversation, right?
Yes.
Is Kelsey going to turn up?
I think you have no choice.
Season?
He's not going to have a choice. They're not going to. They're almost like they're kind of like the reverse Ravens to a degree. Ravens start off every year and they enter the season and they don't have their whole damn team there. Running backs get injured. Every year, Patrick Mahomes is walking into the new season. Receiving core shaky somehow. Running back position is fragile. And they just figure it out every single year. I do believe that Rashee Rice, he's getting suspended, Jay. Whether
That's
we
fine.
have both, we've both been on the side that we don't believe it's going to be long.
But do you think he's the 2 when back? Like, I think he comes back and he's the 2 because he's
like
the most established. They have the chemistry. Yes, 2 to
Yes,
Kelsey's
I do believe. Yes, I believe that. Yes.
So he'll produce at a high level when back, which again, you're drafting him at reduced cost and you're factoring that in a little bit. Like, you're getting a 3-round discount, and he maybe misses 5-6 games. Maybe this is 2 games. We don't know what he's going to miss. Right, but it's the same with Alvin Kamara that you took last year. You were all in on Alvin Kamara at his reduced cost.
I'm not out on Rashee Rice at all. I believe once he's back, he returns to the role that he's in. But at that point, whether it's 2 games, 3 games, 4 games, that gives reps and opportunity to the other receivers to carve out a role within that offense as well. If he's out 4 games, it's a quarter of the season, man. You know what I'm saying? Quarter of the season is gone. There is chemistry and rapport that could have sort of matriculated onto some of the other guys. But I'm not letting, Jay, this one clip, like literally against air, right? Jamar Chase was dropping passes. I'm not letting that one clip deter me from what
easy
this
to
young
let
man.
That slip in practice. Too.
I mean,
like you're focused on
on,
your movement, your route, and honestly, people who aren't paying attention to that, like the movement and the agility through the route and the cones is phenomenal. Like that's amazing. When he turns around and it's a little high and he just kind of puts his hands up, doesn't catch it, like that's not really what you're working on. You're working on getting in and out of cuts, breaks, moving. The catch will come, and like you said, he'll drop balls, but I'm not worried about it at all. But I do want to ask you though, because you seem
got that
very
sounder?
confident.
You got that
in
sounder?
regular season.
Jimbo said he's got the Jimbo said he's got the beans for freaking Xavier Legette top 3 season. I want to go.
Xavier Legette. Wow, I like Legette, man.
I like Legette too. I like Legette as well. Scott and I were talking about it last night. He said if Legette comes out early in the season and stinks it up early, it's a wrap. Like people will just bury him. It'll be over for Xavier Legette. He comes out and he's not targeted early. He's not making big plays early. People will just move on from Xavier Legette. And my boy D-Bro, shout out to D-Bro in the building. He said Marvin Harrison Neighbors then could be worthy, but also good converse for Pearsall if Ayuk or Debo are moved, or Burton, same reasons. Lad also looking good right now. Pearsall needs one of them things to happen. He desperately. Okay,
so can we talk about Pearsall quickly, and then we can go over to Legette? Because you said you're out on Pearsall, 27th overall rookie. You're out.
I am. Out.
But last season, Ray, this was a big sticking point for us.
Why
are we drafting second-round receivers, third-round running backs ahead of a first-round wide receiver? Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Legette were first-round wide receivers. Situation, of course, little clouded. We don't know what's going to happen. But I think it's fairly safe to project one of either Debo Samuel or Ayuk being moved for 2025.
Until they are.
That's fair. That's fair.
Until they are.
But it's the same. So my question to you is, why is this so much different than Rome Odunze? And I understand the talent is different, the production profile is different, and the draft capital is a little bit different, but I think they are in identical situations. Keenan Allen is going to get moved for Rome Odunze, but Debo Samuel,
Wait a minute. What do you mean Keenan Allen is going to get moved?
He's not going to be on the team in 2024.
Who said that? Says who? Why?
Well, that's my point, right? There's no guarantee Keenan Allen moves, just like there's no guarantee that Debo and Ayuk move, but those are 2 guys compared to 1. And Debo's getting older, and Ayuk definitely wants a new deal. So I think there is just as much of a case to be made that Ricky Pearsall is a stash for the same reason that Rome Odunze is a stash with similar risks. There is obviously some factors there, and one of the big factors, of course, is the price you pay to get them. And that's why I want to ask you, you're in on Rome. You're cool stashing him, but you're not cool stashing Ricky Pearsall.
No, I'm not.
And I think they're both 2025 plays. If you draft them, they're 2025 plays. Even Troy Franklin, you draft him 2025 play, not 2024. But but at least he's in that range where he is a 2025 play, in my opinion.
What if Ayuk and Samuel are still there? Then what?
Then you burned a draft pick, but you burned a second-round pick. So it's like, it is what it is. You're betting on the first-round receiver.
I'm fine with taking where he's. I'm not talking about where he's going and the cost being too much or too low, the ADP. I'm not arguing any of that. He's probably going in an appropriate range. I believe probably middle of the second round is where Pearsall's coming off the board. If you want to, here's what I'm saying by out is this. If I'm at the 207 and you got to have that Ricky Pearsall, I will gladly trade you the rights for Ricky Pearsall to move back to the third, because I think the range of outcome for a player like a Jermaine Burton is probably just as close to what Ricky Pearsall is, and I'm getting him cheaper. I can take a shot on Javon Baker in the third, Jalen Polk in the third, wherever he goes. I don't believe that the delta between what Ricky Pearsall is going to give me in 24 or beyond is so much greater than that of the players that may have been drafted behind him. A Roman Wilson, a Javon Baker. I'll just take the shot on that guy. So by out, I mean at cost. Like I'm good with if somebody else wants him at 205, 204, 206, 207, you can gladly take him. I will move back to the third, move back to 2025. I'll let you take him. The Niners don't deploy 3 receivers like that. And when they do, Juwan Jennings is only out there to block. I just don't envision a world in which Debo and Ayuk are on that team. We talked about this last week, Jay. They don't throw the fucking ball. They don't throw the ball.
No, they don't throw the ball at all.
Like you look at San Francisco and you look at how awesome their offense is and how efficient it is. They do not throw the ball. I think Brock Purdy was sub 470 attempts last year.
450, yeah.
He didn't even have a 500 pass attempt. So it's not a high volume offense. So you're truly betting on Pearsall to be this efficiency monster, which.
But that's what the offense is, though. To be fair to them, that's the offense. They are hella efficient. Like crazy efficient.
They are.
444 attempts for Brock Purdy last season, 16 games.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I like him, and here's the thing. We do this all the time. You can like a player and still recognize and understand that, this is a tough spot for that player to see some early opportunity, or at least to predict early opportunity. We got to do all these fucking mental gymnastics. Well, maybe Debo can get out before training camp. Maybe he's cut before then. They send him there before that. Maybe. Until it happens, man, if ands and nuts were candy and butts, every day would be Christmas, right? Or something like that. That's how the saying goes, Jay. That's what y'all say out there in Canada. But I don't know, man. I am good on Pearsall at cost. Go ahead really quickly, wrap up with Leggett, because a lot of people, or at least Jimbo, was talking about big Xavier Leggett, and there seems to be a lot of excitement about how Leggett can be deployed in Dave Canales' offense, who likes to run a couple of different sets with 2 and 3 wide receivers. Leggett, first-round pick. Bryce Young, are you buying into what they're doing, and where are you at with Leggett and the stuff that's coming out about him of late?
Yeah, I mean, so Leggett's interesting because I think everyone is so quick to dismiss Jonathan Mingo, but I still see a world where he potentially starts in the offense as well, right? Like they wanted Leggett, they traded up to get him to make sure they secured him, which is great. That means he's probably going to play often. But, I mean, playing with Deontay Johnson, he's definitely not going to be the one. I think we all know that. Is he going to be behind Adam Thielen? That could definitely be an option as well. You look at how they deployed their receivers last season in Canales' offense. 136 for Evans, 130 for Godwin, 70 for Rashad White, 68, Ray, for Trey Palmer. No one really talks about that. And Cade Otton with 67. And I believe the big stat on Cade Otton is he played like a ridiculous amount of snaps. He led the league.
Led the tight end position, I believe, in snaps. Yes.
Right. So Jatavian Sanders, if he is that tight end 1 in the offense, great option. Trey Palmer was the 3rd receiver in Tampa, so could look to him as a buy low. But you got to be in the top 2. If you're not, you're probably going to be pretty much relevant for fantasy. No one talks about Trey Palmer, even though he's on the field and he was 3rd on the team in receiver targets. So if Leggett does that, if Leggett had 68 targets, 38 receptions, 385 yards, 3 touchdowns, he'll be very forgettable. But when you look at the offense as a whole, it's actually not that bad. I think you should be buying into Bryce Young. You should be buying into Xavier Leggett. The question is can he get the targets? I don't really think he will. I think they will be more of a run-first offense, especially as Bryce progresses through the offense, learns how to play in the system better. It's interesting, right? You look at Leggett, 1st-round pick. I like him a lot, but there could be a lack of opportunity. And he does go higher than some of these other guys. Like, he's kind of early to mid. Like, Pearsall's definitely behind Leggett as far as I see it in most rookie drafts. And I'd much rather have Pearsall because I'm betting on the offense. Even though the situation's a bit more muddy, I'm betting on the offense. And like Scott's saying, if he face plants or he only has 400 yards or 500 yards his rookie season, that's not going to be good enough for people. It's really not. And at that point, people aren't going to want him, and you're pretty much screwed. With Pearsall, maybe you have a bit of an excuse of he didn't see the field because he's playing with phenomenal talent. Now his day will come. But Leggett shouldn't have any excuse if he doesn't get on the field because there's not a lot of talented playmakers around him.
Who's Debro talking about right here? I worry he's running clear outs for AT and DJ.
I'd imagine you're talking about Leggett. Yeah.
Adam Thielen. And so this is, here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. Good morning. How y'all doing? Sorry, the cleaners are here. He's going to be on the field. The whole point is this. This is the point. He's on the field, right? And if you look at Canales' deployment of Trey Palmer, and I tweeted this out, he was on the field in 11 personnel, which they deploy over 70% of the time, 90+% of the time. You're looking for players who have an opportunity to get an opportunity. You get no opportunity if you're not on the field. So is Legette going to be this monster for fantasy? My early prediction is the 1 and the 2 will not be Xavier Legette. It will be Deontay Johnson and Adam Thielen is the 1s and the 2s in that offense. What Legette needs to do, and what I put in that tweet is, Jay, he needs to win that number 3 role. And I don't believe it's going to be a cakewalk over John Mingo. Just that's what teams do. It's veteran preference, right? I don't believe 100%. It's going to be a cakewalk, but I do believe he'll secure that role. If he does, he's going to be on the field a lot in 3 receiver sets, which Canales deploys the most. 2 receiver sets, not so much. Trey Palmer didn't play at all in 12 personnel. It was Chris Godwin, and it was Mike Evans, and then they would throw a random receiver in, Tompkins at times. But if he wins that third job, the prospectus for Legette should be better than him not being on the field per se. So, Jay, and I got a lot of Trey Palmer, dude. I mean, I don't come on here. I ain't one of them posers, dude. I ain't one of them posers. I put my money where my mouth is, and you can see right there through 155 drafts. I mean, this was pre-NFL draft. He was my 4th highest rostered owned player in all the tournament, over 155 teams. Trey Palmer,
Lad McConkey. Congratulations, Ray.
Xavier Worthy, Deontay Johnson. I got Keon down there, and you see Blake Corum as well. So put my money where my mouth is. You saw that right there. Make sure you tap in. BBM5 is going down right now. So use that promo code over on Underdog. And I'm just telling y'all right now, if you are new to Underdog, you better take advantage of this promo over the next 3 days. I kid you not. Take advantage. You get a 100% deposit match up to $100 right now. Do it. Use it right now because there's some updates coming out a little bit later. Trust me, you want to take advantage of the promo now. But yeah, that was sort of kind of. It will be broken, and it will be broken by Underdog later. But Jay, anything you want to say to people? Hit the music before we get out of here, man.
I would just say to tap into all the shows because yesterday your show with Scott was really, really good. I listened to it this morning. You guys did a great job breaking everything down. And the biggest thing, right, and the reason why we talk about this so much is because you have so many options in rookie drafts. Do you trade out? Do you not? I made the case you're picking Ricky Pearsall. You would trade down and draft Jermaine Burton. And I 100% agree with you. That is a great decision because you're playing for 2025
we're wrapping up.
With all
What are
these
you
players.
doing? What are you talking about right
now? This is why you need to tap into the show. But I'm excited. I think that rookie season is here. I'm excited for the next week. Still a few signings to come in the NFL, but I don't think much is changing for the next little bit. But Ray, what do you have to say to the people on your way out of here?
I've got nothing to say. Have a beautiful Monday. Thank you, Alex. Alex said, good show, you guys. Let's get it. Mr. Scampers got a dip. Good show. Shout out to Slayton. Appreciate everybody being here. Destination Dynasty today. Hot takes and trending topics tonight. We got some other stuff tomorrow. Jimbo talking about wrap it up, B. We got to go check in on the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. D-Bro, I got to get you on the show, dude. I got to get you on the show. Stop dodging this smoke, D-Bro. Let's get on here and talk about some of these prospects, man. We got to get the good people what they want. D-Bro, appreciate y'all tapping into the show. We'll see y'all later this week with all the content that we have here over at Destination Devi. We out. Have a beautiful Monday. Peace.